Thanks for dropping in on the first day of October, and thank you very much to 5-Star Marine for my fancy shirt. Now, the rains aren't over. We've got plenty of other things to report, but let's just go back up to the north of Thailand. Cottage English on their Facebook page saying last night heavy rain fell in the Mae Sai district. This is right up in the far north of Chiang Rai. And they've issued a warning to residents in the Mae Sai sub-district between September the 30th and October the 3rd. There may be heavy to very heavy rainfall which will affect the water levels in the Sai River. The water levels are expected to rise, may overflow, flooding risk-prone areas that have experienced flooding before. So they're asking people who are in those flood-prone areas to think about evacuating to safer locations. It's not really fair. You just get cleaned up after the last lot of floods and more rain. So we'll keep an eye on what's happening with that. Of course, all this water at some stage is making its way down southwards towards Bangkok. There's also an economic cost to this, and they're starting to talk about that. Thai PBS World reporting the economic toll on Thailand from tropical storms may worsen. Thailand's been reeling under the onslaught of excessively heavy rains and flooding in several provinces in Upper Thailand. The northern Chiang Rai province was hit hardest by flash floods and landslides due to the influence of super cyclone Yagi, which ravaged Vietnam and brought heavy rains to Myanmar and Thailand. So these cyclones are referred to as typhoons in this part of the world. They rarely hit Thailand with full force because they're coming out of the South China Sea, and we're partly protected by the fact that they weaken as they come through Vietnam and Laos towards Thailand. But they do have an influence because they drag in a lot of very moist air from the Indian Ocean. The Federation of Thai Industries estimated the economic cost to Chiang Rai and nearby provinces between 25 to 27 billion baht from the first wave of flooding, but soon after flash floods occurred in Lampang and Chiang Mai provinces after tropical storm Sulik brought heavy rains to the northern areas. So losses from flooding this year could be as high as 46.5 billion baht. And compared to Vietnam and the Philippines, Thailand is less vulnerable to the impact of super typhoons. And looking into the future, people might need to find themselves new homes away from disaster-prone locations, according to experts. Of course, what usually happens is people just clean up and then stay in exactly the same place, assuming for some reason that it's not going to happen there again, rather than taking the opportunity to move to somewhere which is less flood prone. And a research team at the Urban Hazard Studio, speaking about Bangkok, says Bangkok is only 1 to 1.5 metres above sea level and faces the danger of being submerged by the rising sea. And there are ominous forecasts for the sea level rising by a metre in the next 80 years, due largely to rising global temperatures. And this estimate could double or even triple if ice glaciers in the North and South Poles start to melt down. We've spoken in the past about the peril that Bangkok may face measurably over the past century. Bangkok is slowly disappearing into the swamp for whatever reasons, and I'm sure many people have got their own opinions about that, but the sea level is rising, and Bangkok is getting more prone to these floods as time goes by. A follow-up from yesterday, a little bit more information about that case of the mystery foreigner savagely attacking a Thai. A complaint was put in by Mint about her brother being attacked. Well, Cowside English has got a little bit more information. The superintendent of the Hua Kwang police station has addressed the case where actress Mint complained through the media that there had been no progress in the investigation of her brother's assault by a foreigner at a restaurant in Soi Ratchada 3, Bangkok. He stated that the perpetrator is a Russian man who is hearing impaired. To press charges, they need a Russian Sign Language interpreter, and they say the Russian Sign Language Interpreter Centre is available to come to the police station today, and if the man confesses, legal proceedings will be initiated and the case will be filed with the court within 48 hours. And you can read their full story about that case at cowsodenglish.com. Now, the submarine's back in the news. The Chinese submarine. We've now got a new head of the Navy. What's happening? BangkokPost.com reports new Chief of Navy backs the China sub-buy. And the newly appointed Navy Chief Admiral Jirapon Wongwit says the Navy would proceed with its submarine procurement project with China. He said the submarine scheme is an essential part of the Navy's capability building strategy, and he intends to address any concerns the Defence Minister may have. He said the Navy's also prepared to defend the scheme before the House panels to make sure all sides understand how the submarine program is vital to maintaining maritime security. And the sub was being built by the China Shipbuilding and Offshore International, costing 13.5 billion baht, and construction was reportedly halfway finished when it was delayed due to COVID-19 and then put on hold due to an engine issue. The original deal, signed back in 2017, stipulated a German-made diesel engine, but the plan changed after Germany refused to sell the engine to China as it was designated a military defence item. Oh, no, we're not going to be using the submarine for any military or defence reasons. It's just going to be used to take tourists out on day trips. Obviously, they've just got to sort out the new Chinese engine in that submarine as we head down to Phuket. And the good old thephuket.news.com with their almost unreadable website. Somewhere in the middle there is the headline, Phuket wins World Festival City Award. And Phuket's been recognised as a World Festival and Event City for this year by the International Festivals and Events Association. And Phuket earned the top honours, receiving the Gold Pinnacle Award for the Best Parade as part of its Phuket Peranakan Festival 2024. Okay, let's have a little bit of a peek at the Peranakan Festival Parade. This is every year, and it's a great festival. And they march down some of the beautiful Sino-Portuguese architecture-lined streets, and they do a very, very good job. It's a lovely parade. It's full of culture. It's an important part of Phuket's Peranakan Chinese heritage. But one of the best parades in the world? Well, certainly it's got all the colour and the enthusiasm, attended by, perhaps a few thousand locals. Not really sure if it could be rated one of the best in the world. The Peranakans are ethnically Malay Chinese, focused around the Malacca Straits, places like Malacca in Malaysia, but also Penang and Phuket, Singapore. There's plenty of influence, and they celebrate that every year in Phuket. But Phuket was in some pretty good company. In addition to Phuket, other cities honoured for the World Festival and Event City Award included Gwangju in South Korea, McAllen in Texas, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania. And the director of the Southern Regional Office of the Thailand Convention and Exhibition Bureau said winning the World Festival City title is expected to elevate the standard of event organisation in Phuket and attract more global visitors, solidifying the island's position as a cultural and tourism hub. And the article notes that the Phuket Vegetarian Festival starts tomorrow. The Vegetarian Festival, whilst huge in Phuket, also very, very big around this area. And I noted that a few other places in Thailand, including Chinatown in Bangkok and also Pattaya, are also going to be celebrating the Vegetarian Festival this year. More about that in coming days. Let's head to Maya Bay, and a report from cowsodenglish.com. Maya Bay reopens, strict measures in place for sustainable tourism, and the iconic Maya Bay is set to welcome tourists again on October the 1st, that's today, following a 2-month closure for environmental recovery. So they do this every year. They give Maya Bay a couple of months recovery time before the high season comes. It says park officials have implemented stringent regulations to balance tourism with conservation, including limited daily visitors and eco-friendly practices. And the reopening comes with heightened safety measures and carefully managed boat access to protect the bay's delicate ecosystem. Well, the reality is that they still cram in as many tourists and boats as they possibly can. They've changed the experience over the years. Since COVID, they had a bit of time when the whole bay was closed down, and you can't approach Maya Bay from the front now. You have to go around the back. They've built a boardwalk that goes across the mangroves, so you approach from the rear of the beach, and it is a better experience for tourists, and of course it does a lot to save people trampling all over the coral in the actual Maya Bay. Interesting photo there where you can see the boats approaching from the bottom to where they now disembark and make their way across the mangroves to Maya Bay. Kopipi Don, the sort of the party PP island in the background. Now the PP island group, 5 islands in the archipelago. Certainly Maya Bay in the top 10 of the most popular attractions in Thailand. Probably the Grand Palace would be number 1. Interesting to find out if anybody's got some numbers on what the top 10 attractions for tourists in Thailand actually are, but I'm very sure that Maya Bay's in that top 10. Now, we will be speaking a bit more about the Vegetarian Festival tomorrow. It looks like it's going to be happening in different parts of Thailand, not just Phuket anymore. Sort of the TAT leveraging the festival to become more of a tourist attraction. It is certainly something that once you've seen it, you'll never forget it. Thanks for watching today. Please subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you tomorrow.